Okay, we are recording. Good morning, Wildcats. We are here for another version of Taco Tuesday. We took a little bit of a break, but before we jump into the holidays, we thought we would get together one more time and answer a few questions, have a couple quick comments and things. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat box if you're joining us, or in the Q&A, and we'll be happy to answer those. So feel free to ask anything you want. We'll start with some good things. Anybody got, Bruce? You're blinking, so I'm assuming there's some good things going on at the high school.
I am. We're trying to keep festive things going. We had today is team day, so each department picked their own theme, and in the office we were collectively a Christmas tree. So we went out and had our picture just taken. So we've all got our little our Christmas light necklaces on today. So
that's awesome. All right, who else?
Just to point out, don't forget, if we have sporting activities, of course, some events are allowing parents in and so forth, but we have been working with the middle school and the high school to Facebook Live those events. So be watching for those notifications coming out, and those are always great to send off to others that can't make the events. And had some questions that, why not use YouTube? Well, used to be able to use YouTube from a single device, but it's not available now unless you have like 1,000 followers, or you have to pay for it. And so Facebook Live, I think for the most part, works really well. Accounts are free. You don't have to join. All you have to have is an account. So just be cognizant of that. And so hopefully trying to make that happen. So thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. That is a great point. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Okay, well, I'm going to throw one out there. I do believe at the high school last night, our fine arts group started some music performances, which is music to my ears. So it was great to see our kids participating and being actively involved in that. And our football team, if I'm not mistaken, got together and raised a little money and got some donations and put together some gifts and packages to support some families throughout the holiday season. So I believe they were wrapping yesterday, and what a great way to give back. So we appreciate their hard work and their efforts. That's not always easy to do. So good morning, everybody. I'm going to go down the line, and if you'll wave when I call you out so that we'll do a real fast introductions. Stan Ruff is our principal at Skelly Elementary. Carla King is our principal at EMS at the middle school. Susan Holthouse, principal at Grandview Elementary with the Gators. Chad Sheets is principal at Blackmore Elementary. Doug Jensen is our director of, okay, that threw me off there, Chad, with the whoop whoop. Doug Jensen is our director of technology, executive director of technology, I apologize. And see, Doug, it's all Chad's fault with the little whoop whoop, got me all messed up. Bruce Lawling is principal at El Dorado High School, and Julie Jensen, hiding behind the name of Doug Jensen on her device there on her Zoom account, is our executive director of curriculum and instruction. And Kathy Robertson is our executive director of fiscal and support services. Whew, that was a lot to say first thing in the morning. So we are so glad they are all here. They are a great team, and we are closing in on the end of the first semester, a first semester of a lot of firsts, a first semester of a lot of learning and things we have never done before. And I appreciate their leadership. I appreciate everything that they've done. And our staff has worked super, super hard across the board. And so it takes all of us pulling together to make that happen. So comments, questions, and kudos. One of the questions first thing, and this one we can all kind of dive into. They would like to review or update the website with the requirements for what needs to happen to return to school. So for example, I have a public health exposure. Does that require a doctor's note to come back after the 14 days? And that time frame has changed a little bit. If I have a positive test, do I have a doctor's note to come back when after the onset of symptoms? So when you come back from either a quarantine, or if you have tested positive for staff or students, a doctor's note is not required, because that a doctor's note cannot get us out of a quarantine. So we have to have actually documentation from the Butler County Health Department. I appreciate Kathy Robertson and Kim Cope, because they do a great job of kind of being our go-between with the health department. So if somebody's struggling to get a date to come back, we can sometimes reach out and get that information. Is that correct, Kathy? Yep, Kathy is they do a great job of being that connection and that go between the two. So if that happens, you can reach out to central office and talk to either Kathy Robertson for the staff side, or Kim Cope for the student side of information, if you will, and they can support you in those questions. Again, a doctor's note does not release from a quarantine, because the only group that can quarantine or release from a quarantine is the public health department. So that would be Butler County Health Department for us, and we very much appreciate them. Kathy, you want to add anything? Did I miss something?
We talked to them yesterday, Kim and I did, and I just they are they're behind in their calls, and I know people are frustrated, and we try to touch base with them once, twice a week if possible. But I know my contact just said how far behind they are. And some of the cases don't even have investigators. So we email the information to them, and then they actually assign investigators, and those investigators may be local, but more than likely they're from KDHE. And they are going through a transition. And this transition, KDHE has been changing the transition. So I don't know where it's all going to fall out. We're supposed to be talking again today, but they are changing, that 10-day to 14-day, and they're changing when people come back, so kids can come back. So it's a lot of moving parts, and yeah, I don't know what else to say.
You're exactly right. It is a lot of moving parts, and I appreciate, I think the relationship we have with Butler County Health Department. Kathy and Kim do a great job of keeping those lines of communication open. The building principals will call and ask for things, and that support it's great to kind of have it in a central hub. So that's a great question. Okay, the other thing we talked about, and we want to highlight this, is we are handing out meals at the high school, 12:30 to 1. Is that right? That sound right? Yeah, that's right. Between 12:30 and 1. This Friday, anybody from ages 1 to 18 can come. And on Friday, when you come to pick up meals, you will be getting an additional 10 meals for the next 5 days after that. So we are providing additional meals that go into next week. If you swing by and pick those up at the high school, we really would appreciate it if you could go online and pre-order that, so we would kind of know, but we will do our very best to feed anybody who comes. So you'll get those meals to kind of take with you. And I am beyond excited that our food service department stepped up and we're able to do that. So you get an additional 10 meals if you come on this Friday, that takes you into next week. So what a huge benefit for all of our staff. And it's completely, or not staff, but our community, completely free. Feel free to come grab some extra meals. They'd be good snacks during the holiday break. So it's all, and it's kind of yummy stuff. I've seen Golden Grahams and all kinds of things that kids like. So what a great way to kind of launch into the holiday season, if you will. And then last but not least, Bruce, did you want to talk a little bit about some of the requirements for extracurricular activities? Now that Keisha, and we were excited when Keisha made the change in their decision, because we were always in favor of limited spectators in our buildings. So Bruce, you want to talk about some of those details?
Yeah, sure. And I tweeted out last week a short 2-minute video that kind of walks you through how things are going to be a little bit different. But we're going to have one entrance, and that's the bus drive entrance on the east side of the building. So we're asking everybody to come in that way. The only people that are allowed are parents and guardians. Siblings and other children are not allowed. Keisha did make an exception yesterday. We got a word that infants. So if you have an infant with you, less than a year old, then we can allow that. But parents and guardians are the only ones that are going to be allowed in. only 2 per family. And we ask that you stay only for your child's event. So if you have a freshman basketball player, when the freshman games are over, obviously if you have an older student that's playing in the varsity game, you'd be welcome to attend that as well. But we do ask that you stay just for your child's event, so that we can keep everything limited as much as possible. We have decals on all of the seats in the gym to help guide your social distancing. So sit on or next to one of those decals. Obviously, if you come together, you can sit together, but those decals are there to help guide us with our social distancing. We need to also have face coverings on throughout the entirety of the event. We will not be having concessions and not asking not to bring food or drink in, because we need to make sure that we keep our face coverings on through the entire event. We did allow also, if we've got performances going on. Last night when we had the fine arts performing in, again, 2 parents could come in and watch their child during the recording piece of that. We did not mark the seats in the auditorium to guide social distancing, but other than that, whether it's in the gym or the auditorium, basically the same procedures. Unfortunately, for Scholars Bowl and for swim, we do not have the capacity to allow for any spectators at those events. So only basketball, wrestling, and any performing arts are the only ones that we will be allowed to have any spectators at all. And those spectators will be parents only.
Thank you, Bruce. And I will highly recommend the video. I mean, it's got staff, and I believe Bruce is the spectator who comes walking in and walks through the process and the procedure. So it's definitely worth the 2-minute watch. It's very well done. So good job.
Yeah, I couldn't convince anybody else to be my actor, so I went through on that. So
I think we call that taking one for the team. All right. Any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat or the Q&A this morning. So am I missing anything that anybody wants to throw out there? If not, I'm going to jump right to the launch. Okay. So this is one of the kudos. So this one is from, I got to grab the right piece of paper here. This one goes to some 8th grade teachers. So send out a great job to the 8th grade teachers. Extra kudos to Mr. Boone for going out and playing extra copies of the music for my daughter so she can hear her part and then sending them to her. And second, to Mrs. Cooper for getting the girls to share a topic during attendance. You can hear the tension in their voices begin to relax. So taking her time to explain and taking time to listen before giving the assignment, and a huge thank you for that. So we appreciate our parents. We appreciate you joining us this morning. And we're excited to kind of wrap up this first semester and launch into some very new things next semester. So, and it'll be 2021 when we come back together. So we will continue these next January, next year, when we're all back together. Feel free to continue to add questions, comments, and kudos in there, and we will be sharing them. Thank you for a great first semester. Thank you, everybody who's on here with us. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. And thank you to all our teachers and staff. We really appreciate you. Parents, I can't even imagine. And you're doing a great job as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great afternoon, and bye, Wildcats. Take care.